Hey, and welcome to episode 107 of Masters of the Forge. This is Adam, and with me I have Jason.
Hey, Adam. Hello, everyone.
I'm glad to talk to you again, buddy.
Yeah, man. It's been a wee bit since we talked, which I mean, we
bit.
talk and chat all the time, but, you know.
So, I think we're like a week late with this one. That's fine. As we get close to the holidays, it gets harder, and I don't expect us to be back until after Golden Sprue Cup, to be honest. So, apologize for that, but the holidays are the holidays, and family is family, and that's just, we need to recharge our batteries as usual. Got a lot to do, got a lot to talk about. I'll go first this time. I went to the portal and brought the Grot Resistance list. A bunch of Grots, a bunch of tanks, a bunch of guns, a bunch of... long story short, the Grot Resistance was short-lived, I believe.
Uh-oh.
That, yes, the big mechs who tried to make a lot of hay with a huge Grot army forgot to realize that Grots don't make the best meat shields. So that's a problem. So, did poorly, but we had a fun time at the portal as always. Really, really enjoyed ourselves. A bunch of those folks are coming out for the Golden Sprue Cup, so I'm really excited about that.
That's cool.
Yeah, a lot of good people out there. Gosh, I've been doing some painting. Been painting my Noise Marines. So I only have... If I paint all of my Emperor's Children...
Yeah.
And 2 squads of Primaris Marines, I will meet my 17,000 point goal for the year.
Woo?
Yeah. So, as of today, I'm almost done with the Noise Marines. Well, anybody who's pink, so that's the Noise Marines, that's the Raptors, and the 2 Rhinos. Everybody else... like the cultists are going to be more cultisty colors. I haven't decided whether I want to like give them silver like rayon pants and pink shirts because I think that would be hilarious. Like, oh, do they have metal pants? Like, no, they're just sparkly silver pants for dancing.
Are they space pants?
They are space. You know what? Now I have to do it because they're space pants.
Yes.
All right, fine. They are going to have space pants and pink shirts. Anyways,
Sorry, I'm emphatic.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. So I feel like I am going to make that goal. I don't know. I still have to build the Land Raider that I bought from Josh. I built some of it. Pat's going to give me... He had these third-party treads. They're like chaosy, like spiky treads for Land Raider.
Really?
He's going to hook me up with those, yeah. Okay. And that's going to be... I already ordered the Bluetooth speaker that's going to be mounted on the back of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's pretty sweet. It's like this big pink speaker that I'm probably not even going to paint.
Yeah, I saw that picture. Just put it on there. It'll be fine.
So that'll be fun. I got a lot of bits saved up for that. What else? So those Noise Marines come along pretty good. It's weird because there's only one color for the Emperor's Children symbol on the decal sheet, which I feel like that's kind of an oversight because it should be just like all kinds of colors. But I guess, I guess usually it's either, I think the shoulder pad is usually black and then they put the yellow like eagle claw over it or whatever. Yeah. So what I did was whenever I had an orange or yellow shoulder pad, I actually put the transfer on. Yeah. Using the microsol, and then I smooth it into place, then hit it with the microset.
Yeah.
But then if it were a yellow or an orange shoulder pad, I would go ahead and trace over the decal with black paint.
Good idea.
And that works really nice because at least you have, even if I go outside the lines, at least I have kind of the right design on there, a nice guide for it.
Yeah.
So that worked out really well, and I intend on using that methodology in the future. That works pretty great. I only had to color one shoulder pad black because I went wildly over the lines because I was shaking because we bought a new coffee machine. Hold on. Wendy and I bought ourselves a Christmas present. It's a coffee ninja.
Awesome.
And let me tell you, it karate chopped my heart. It karate chopped its way to my heart.
Oh,
it's a really nice. I don't think ninjas ever karate chop anything, but whatever. It's really good. Anyways, I finally bought the. I did win second best painted at the Portal GT because John's a piece of shit. And
wait, do I need to edit that?
What?
Nah, I'm not beeping that.
Well, now on cable you're allowed to say the S word, so whatever.
Okay.
Anyways, cultists. I picked up a box of the what are they called? The stupid Gene Stealer neophytes.
Oh yeah.
Hybrids. So it's basically an Imperial Guard box, but with different heads and whatnot. Right. So I'd put those guys. You know what? In that Imperial Guard box, you actually get 10 guys and a heavy weapons team. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm going to save that heavy weapon for my Diggas, actually.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
So I spent a whole, I spent a lot of time chopping the heads off some of these cultists that I already have.
Yeah.
And, shaving down their necks so I could put a different head on. And also some, the close combat dudes, I chopped their arms off and added... I had some Skitarii bits, so a lot of them have the rad guns, the radiation weapons.
Right.
From the Skitarii boxes. And anywhere, I was kind of missing an arm, I just glued on an arm from a Demonette. That works out pretty good, and yeah, they're looking really, really nice. I'm really happy with the cultists. Very diverse. I mean, I still have a lot of repeats from the cultist box, but at least I've got some differences in there. And when I get 40 of them on the table, I think it's gonna look pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I'm pleased with how that's working out. I assembled a bunch of Primaris as well. I'm gonna hold off till later to paint those. I assume we're gonna talk about our 2018 aspirations in our first episode of 2018, obviously. So I'm gonna hold off on chatting about that for now. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. Just coffee machine.
Yeah, man.
Whatever. Oh, I also put together the, I think I consider it hobby progress that I put together the Christmas village in the living room.
Needs more orcs.
It does need more orcs, but there is a Primaris Reaver stalking the roof of the general store. So at least there's that.
Yeah, that's acceptable. That's good. That's good.
my Christmas village is nothing like Phil's. Phil's Christmas village is unreal.
Man.
His house is a Christmas village. He even dresses up his taxidermy.
Yeah, I saw that picture on Discord, and I was a little I don't even know what I want to think about that.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Okay, yeah. So, I got my wife a coffee maker for Christmas.
Oh, your wife got a coffee maker too?
Yeah, that was that's what she wanted. And so I was like,
nice.
Fine, cool, we'll get this. What that means is I don't have to work very hard at finding, something to get for her. And so she felt bad because she got it weeks ago, and she decided, I'm going to go ahead and give you your present now. And it was an airbrush.
Yay! Well, I am just shocked and surprised that you got an airbrush.
Well, yes, and I want to thank you. It was really funny because one of our mutual friends, I'm not going to say his name because he doesn't know yet. His wife contacted me about what to get him for Christmas, and I said, well, you should get this, and I'm telling Rach this story, and she's laughing, and I can't figure out why she's laughing. And then she tells me, later, she's like, well, I asked Adam. I'm like, yes, all right, so cool. So anyways, I'm pretty stoked about that. I've had a lot of fun with it. I've only played it one day, though, so because of weather and whatnot.
Right. Well, at least, I mean, how was it? Like, did you have any troubles with, like, clogging and stuff? Because the first time I used my airbrush, I spritzed a few times and it immediately clogged. Like it was tough getting that mixture down and everything. How's it been?
Well, like, so part of the, what's the thing? I guess it's part of the package, and they had, I guess maybe pre-mixed airbrush paints, and so I didn't have any problems with clogging at all.
Oh, cool.
So what it means is that I can airbrush, but I don't know how to do the technique for, combining the paints, so that's going to be what I work on the next couple of weeks. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I can get that figured out. So let's see. But yeah, I was airbrushing terrain, and that's pretty cool. Some of my quote-unquote junk terrain, which is made out of, like, medicine bottles and chewing gum containers and whatnot, and that was kind of fun. Let's see. I was supposed to play at a tournament yesterday, but I got sick.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
Yeah, like, on Friday I started feeling it, and I was like, balls. This is going to be bad. And then yesterday, I was just like, this isn't happening. I can't do anything. So I feel better today.
There has been a lot of illness going around. I really need to take advantage of that and take a couple days off at some point. I hear you coughing. I hear that cough in your voice. Yeah, there you go. I don't have 3,000 points to paint by New Year's. What?
Let's see what else. It's the end of the semester, so I don't have a whole lot done because it's the end of the semester, and I turned in grades an hour ago, and that I'm still sober right now.
What?
I don't know why. Oh, because I'm recording and I don't want to say anything horrible. So,
dude,
anyway.
Seriously, my brain, I think I might, okay, so I may have inherited some of my father's alcoholism because I really feel like my brain has been wandering to tequila for the past few weeks a lot.
Really? Okay.
It might have something to do with the holidays. I don't know. But I've just been like, my brain's been like, what would be nice right now? A nice glass of tequila.
I'm going to be real honest. Every time I think of a glass of tequila, my stomach starts doing somersaults and like vertigo shows up. So,
dude, seriously, I'm like, I really want some, but it's all good. I have until March, and then I'm gonna have a very small amount, just to test the waters.
All right. So what else? So remember a while back I read Cybernetica from Rob Sanders.
Yep.
And there was the Carrion Raven Guard dude that had like. He was missing his legs and one arm.
Mm-hmm. And he showed up and tried to assassinate someone, right?
No, that was another guy. That was Shuriken. This was, he got, spoilers? I don't know. If you haven't read the book, sorry, I'm spoiling it right now. It's supposed to be a tech marine, and then on the day that he was supposed to graduate from tech marine school, the schism happened in Mars, and like...
Bummer.
Yeah, and so he was never made a...
his name's Carrion?
Yeah, well, that was his nickname. It was a nickname given to him by the Night Lords, because the Night Lords rescued him at some sort of conflict. Because that's who you want picking you up. You're beat up, and hey, here come the Night Lords to save you.
The Night Lords!
Yeah. So anyway, this guy, I picked up a couple of extra bits and whatnot. And so the mini has 4 different materials. We've got fine cast, we've got resin, we've got plastic, and we've got metal. So it's a heavy it's a heavy mini, and it's kind of off balance because I've got a metal Tech Marine backpack, so I'm gonna have to really weight the base so he doesn't fall over. But he's mostly painted. I just need to do all the metal stuff because I gave him cybernetic legs from the Iron Hands upgrade kit, and a bionic left hand from I think it's the Mechanical Magos kit, and then a metal, an old metal backpack from like servo arm from the Tech Marine, and I gave him an axe that came from Severin Loth. So it's all GW and Forge World stuff, but it's just it's a really cool mini. I've been enjoying painting it. So
nice.
All right. I'll upload more pictures as I finish him. All right. Hey, I built in Zenithal Prime to Hive Tyrant. I decided to do the Foot Hive Tyrant because, well, honestly, I looked at the wings and thought I'm never going to be able to transport that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you might as well just glue it all together. Hey, that might be a good opportunity, like a good first model to do with the airbrush.
I might do.
I mean, I know you already did a piece of terrain, but I think the Hive Tyrant might be a good choice to just to go after it and see what because it's one of those big plastic kits from a while ago, so a lot of the details are not shallow at all. So you can probably paint that thing 3 or 4 times and it would still be fine. It really could. I mean, a lot of people put way too much stock in thin layers, to be perfectly honest, especially a lot of those old models. You can layer on 80 coats of paint and it's still, I'm exaggerating the 80, but you can put a lot of paint on these models and they're still just fine.
Well, I did a real quick, I primed it black, and then I hit it with Mournfang brown, and then with, I think Xandri Dust was the carapace. Right. And I was looking at it and thinking, man, there's a ton of detail. I was thinking, maybe I hit it really light, but as I was looking at it, some of the ribs and whatnot are really protruding, so.
Yeah, you people are adorable with your, 4 or 5 colors on a model.
Huh?
I'm just color shaming because because Emperor's Children.
Because of your Emperor's Children, it's like, how many colors does it have? Well, how many panels and flat spaces does it have? All of them? Well, there you go.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, those raptors, it's like painting. Each raptor is a teeny tiny freaking Helldrake. It is the worst. It is the worst ever.
But I must admit, I am enjoying looking at the pictures, even though it does cause my eyes to bleed a little bit.
I believe Brian said it best multiple times when he said, "I think I threw up on my dick."
And on that note,
so I can't wait to. A lot of the pictures are way overexposed, and my camera is just like, what is even happening in this photo? So I can't wait to get it on the macro mat and get some real pictures of the Noise Marines. Anyways, what else you been up to?
Okay. So today we are talking about the Dark Angels Codex, and you sent me a bunch of Dark Angels.
I did. They are totally mine and don't belong to someone else who left them at my house.
Okay, cool. And so, what makes me laugh is, so when I first started, I bought the Dark Vengeance box, so I have those Dark Angels. And then I was still living in Dallas, Fort Worth, and a friend of mine had the Dark Angels, and no one would buy them, and so he gave them to me for like $5. So I was like, okay. And another guy was like, "Oh, you like Dark Angels?" and just gave me another set. And so I think I have.
You have 3 sets of Dark Angels from Dark Vengeance?
I think I have like 5.
Dude, you just have that I'm a heretic face. Like,
I know that. It's weird. Like, people come to me like, "Hey, what do you think of the Dark Angels?" Like, "Hey, they're pretty cool. I really like their codex." Da da da. Here, and I was like, "What? Okay, so
that's because you don't react with immediate disdain. That makes you a Dark Angels fan.
No comment. No comment. I'm gonna plead the fifth. Yeah. The fifth.
Okay.
So anyway, I have a abundance of Dark Angels, and I'm trying to figure out how the hell to paint them. Do I go ahead and do the green wing? Do the, what is the standardized 41st Millennium Dark Angels, or do I paint them as the Fallen? And have a nice big Fallen army, or do I? Yeah, I don't know yet. So
okay,
but they're gonna definitely get hit with. I'm probably gonna do them with the airbrush.
Yeah, that'd be a good. Yeah. So you're not losing much by doing that,
No.
I mean, how many Azraels does someone need?
Oh God.
Well, I guess it's just a Grandmaster, but whatever. It's Azrael or whatever.
And I've got so many plasma cannons, it's ridiculous.
Oh, it's so good, and as we'll talk about in a little bit, plasma cannons are where it's at. Yeah,
especially for these guys, because we do talk about that a little bit. And the last thing, I'm reading Old Earth from Nick Kime. It hasn't been out for a year, so I'm not doing spoilers. It is pretty good, though.
Cool.
If you're a Salamanders fan, Vulcan lives. If you like Shattered Legions, they're in there too. So that's all the spoiling I'm doing for that book.
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't done much reading. I'm kind of trying to get this final hobby push in, and I'll try to get some better reading in. All right,
you've
cool.
Been writing though,
I've been writing, and that's the thing. But I, as they say that, the only thing more important than writing for a writer is reading, and I haven't been doing enough. So, but we have a good episode.
Yep.
He said, not sure if it's a good episode or not.
Hey.
First segment is gonna be talking about Dark Angels, the new codex, the new lore, the new all that stuff. Then we're gonna move on, and we're gonna do some there's a lot of notes here. Then we're
sorry.
then we're gonna talk about the Angels of Absolution, who are a Dark Angels successor chapter, one of the many. And then we're going to talk about a campaign system that I've been working on because we love the open war deck, and I wanted to put together some quick and dirty rules on how to use the open war deck in a campaign. All right, so stick around, and we'll be right back to talk about all that crap.
Hey mofos, are you looking for more Warhammer 40k video content? Well, the Scarred Cast posts regular battle reports as well as tactics and strategy videos. Be sure to check out all the cool hobby content for the avid tabletop wargamer. That's Scarred Cast, Skared, on YouTube.
Oi! After an hard day's shopping, I like to head down to the pub and enjoy a good brew with me mates. Shopping hummies all day is hard smelly work, so's I likes to top myself up with something nice. Chopper body spray is not just a treat for you, it's a treat for the whole crew. Now available in Green Apple Grunt, Illinois After Dark, and Oops Still Pressed at Fragrances. Chopper body spray, don't make me axe you twice.
Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to the Heresy Show. We're just gonna lose all of our Dark Angels listeners. It's all in love. It's all in good-natured humor and appreciation for, I don't know, great story, a dichotomy. I love the Dark Angels. The Dark Angels are really cool. I think I'm always enticed because I used to have a Deathwing army back in the day. They were all the old metal ones. I bought them off eBay. I'd magnetized all the arms, and I had three Land Raiders to drive them around in if I wanted to, though I usually ended up deep striking them anyways.
Yeah, why not? Sounds fun.
Yeah, well, yeah. Usually like 5 or 6 squads, all with Cyclone launchers, just like, rah, or Deathwing.
Yeah, that would catch my attention.
Yeah, it was good fun. But I sold them, and I kind of regret it, but at the same time, if I were to do it again, I would just want to use the new models. Those new models are gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Oh my goodness, that Deathwing box. Ugh. And with AP the way it is now, the Deathwing Knights are very enticing. Those weapons are so cool, like the maces and stuff.
Yep.
Super rad. So why don't we talk about, you want to start off talking about, so Jason, you've got the book, and you've been doing a lot of notes and stuff on it. And do you want to drive a little bit here? Do you want to start us off with some of the new lore?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that.
So are there any light shed on some of the clearly there are new books that have come out for Horus Heresy since the last codex. And are there any new revelations or anything as far as kind of pre-41st millennium stuff?
Okay, so yeah, So if you're interested in the Dark Angels going back to the Horus Heresy, they actually have rules in Book 6, Retribution, from the Horus Heresy, the Black Books. And supposedly the next book, which is Book 8, will have more information about them, and I think it's being released around next Christmas. That's kind of the last thing I heard about it.
Okay.
But whenever we start talking about the Dark Angels, Gav Thorpe is one of the guys who's really kind of pushing their development, especially in the Horus Heresy and the 41st Millennium. Right. But one of the things that he introduced into his books were these secret orders. And I was going through and doing some research on this, and I noticed that on the Warhammer 40K community page on Facebook, that they actually talk about those secret orders. And I'm assuming, hoping, that this will show up in the Horus Heresy Book 8. And so, the 6 orders, 2 of them still survive. So we have Deathwing, first company, the Termes. Then we have Ravenwing, our second company, Bikes, Fast Attack. And those 2 still survive in the lore. But there were 4 others. And these are all really cool. And I can't say that I'm not going to build one of these in the future. We've got the Iron Wing. So, heavily armored vehicles, Land Raiders, Dreads, etc. That's their job, their shtick. And that's pretty cool. The next one is the Dreadwing. And these guys are really fascinating. The last Horus Heresy Dark Angels book that Gav wrote, I can't remember the name of it now. It was the last book in the Angels of Caliban series. The Dreadwing specialized in, forbidden weapons that weren't... How can I put this? Things that would definitely violate the Geneva Convention. One of those things that's we'll just irradiate the thing for 10,000 years. It's cool. They use phosphex, rad grenades, vortex weapons. They're using destroyer squads. Just whenever they get involved, that's not a good thing.
This is the Firewing you're talking about?
This is the Dreadwing. Mm-hmm. And so what's interesting about them, though, is that they don't have... I think it was the Dreadwing. They don't have specific Dreadwing units. Well, besides the destroyer squads.
They would be more administrative than anything else, I think. Right? But they might have special squads, but a lot of that stuff would just be... It would be it's more strategic warfare than tactical combat.
Yeah, well, the thing is that what they do is they would just call the Dreadwing up, and all of a sudden, 1 or 2 dudes from a unit in this unit all kind of come forward, and then all of a sudden it's this Voltron thing where you didn't have anybody there in this field for the Dreadwing, and all of a sudden they're all there. And so it's like
Right.
the sum of their parts makes them better. You know, they are more than the sum of their parts. And I think
Okay.
that's one of those things that as the Horus Heresy book is continue to being written and develop that whole story and whatnot, we'll know a little bit more about them, because I'm not... It's really quite odd, and I don't know how to explain it without using the term odd. Alright, so that's the Dreadwing. The Stormwing, which I did not know anything about until I read this on the community page, they specialize in spaceborne boarding operations, and they consist exclusively of breacher squads. I'm not going to say that I'm going to build a Stormwing army, but I'm probably going to build a Stormwing army. That's... Yeah.
That sounds rad.
Yeah, it does. And, you know...
Bunch of guys with bolters and shields. I mean, what?
Yeah. I mean,
Seriously.
I read that once. Oh, great! That's where my money's going. Okay, well, thanks for warning me, guys. Cool. And then we have the Firewing, and this one's really interesting because their purpose is unknown according to the 40K lore page. Their purpose has been lost to the sands of time or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's really cool though is their heraldry is similar to the Consecrators, which is one of the Dark Angel successor chapters. And they always have like the old tech, the old gear. They don't really communicate with anyone. So I am curious about the Firewing. That's going to be interesting when it's released.
Right. That does sound really cool.
Yeah. Those are all, those are really cool. I've been curious what these, 6 orders are. I think it's going to give the guys at Forge World a real chance to play with that lore. And I have a suspicion that Gav Thorpe is really involved with it more than I think he's probably letting on. So he's probably driving some really interesting stuff. He'll bring back some cool stuff. I know that. So
awesome. Well, yeah, he kind of is carrying that torch.
Yeah, and that's a good guy to have. If you want your Legion to carry a torch, Gav's a good guy to have do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's been with GW since almost the beginning, right?
Yeah. It looks like these guys are all like the Consecrators. They have all kinds of old art like archaeotech and old tech and stuff, which is better than some of these. Like I was reading about one of these other successor chapters. No, it was one of the other. Was it Star Phantoms?
Oh yeah, the Star Phantoms. Yeah, there's
one of these chapters that was involved in Badab actually uses like Xenos tech, though they've never been able to pin it on them.
Well, let's talk a bit more about the Star Phantoms. If I remember right, they have the skull and hourglass icon. That's the icon of the Dreadwing.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and so there's been some chatter back and forth on the Dark Angels Facebook pages, like, well, is this... Are they actually Dark Angels successor chapter or not?
Well, it might be that because, a lot of the successors were split up by company.
Yeah.
And if these secret orders were, de facto companies, just like the Deathwing and the Raven Wing, then it would make sense. Yeah. Because they're already compartmentalized, you might as well do it that way, right? And I think that makes a lot of sense logically, clearly.
Yeah. So we're gonna see what happens whenever as things develop in this next year with the Dark Angels. Okay. All right. So that's the Horus Heresy stuff. Now we're gonna talk a little bit about the Dark Angels Codex. Of course, has a timeline, and so I don't have the 7th edition Dark Angels Codex because I just didn't get it at that time. Mm-hmm. But we'll go ahead and run from the Howl of the Wolfen. Because remember the Howl of the Wolfen, that's the Curse of the Wolfen book. So we reviewed that in some episode. I don't remember which one. Mm-hmm. But we've done it. All right, so they talk about that a little bit in there. Then we get to the 13th Black Crusade, and according to the book, many Fallen are detected. So of course, the Dark Angels are going to show up for the Fallen. I mean, it's like Deadheads, you know. There goes the Grateful Dead. Well, they're the Deadheads behind them. Well, here's the Fallen. There's the Dark Angels. So the Dark Angels and their Unforgiven successor chapters muster to protect Acadia. I found this interesting. The fourth company, the Dark Angels, arrives on Acadia, but is completely lost during the final battle. So if you're collecting a fourth company, sorry, I don't know. I read that last night and I started laughing. I'm like, wow, this is bad. So that's kind of a synopsis of the 13th Black Crusade, and then they have a segment, little paragraph, "The Galaxy Shakes," and this is really interesting. Ezekiel receives a vision of the true numbers of the Fallen, because that's all they're looking for, is to get the Fallen. And it turns out that Luther, during the Horus Heresy, had completely rebuilt the Dark Angels Legion on Caliban before it exploded. And a vast proportion of Luther's Legion has survived. So they're going to be searching for the Fallen forever, which is good, because it allows them to have a narrative focus, but yeah.
Okay.
So people can build that fallen Legion that they want, and there's definitely the fluff for it right there.
Okay.
And, alright, then we get to the Great Rift, alright, so we're definitely post-Cadia. The rock is caught on the Imperium Nihilus, and is cut off from the Astronomicon, so it's in the Galactic North. So, you know, if you are a Dark Angel player and you're on the south part of the Imperium, then you are definitely pre-Great Rift. And let's see. And during this time that they're in the Imperium Nihilus, the Rock besieged. Okay, hold on, I gotta stop. Every time I hear the word "the Rock" or the phrase, I think of the wrestler. And so I had these visuals, and I'm just like, this is... And so the next sentence is going to really, you know, disturb someone, mostly me. The Rock is invaded by demons, because why not? And Luther, who is the prisoner down the bottom of the rock, is freed, but only Azrael knows that he's been set free, because Azrael's the only one who knows he's there, besides the Watchers in the dark. So, yeah, that should be a lot of fun. A lot of narrative fun, actually, there. And then, I had not seen this. I don't know if this is just in the codex, or if there's actually a book that goes with this. The Massacre at Darkmoor. So, elements from half a dozen Unforgiven chapters, 1,000 Marines total, go to Darkmoor. They've all followed scryings from the librarians that they need to go there for some reason. They're ambushed by demons, Chaos Space Marines, and Renegades. Less than 100 Marines survive, and the only way they survive is by pursuing Cypher through a teleportation device. Because Cypher, hide-and-go-seek champion of 10 millennia.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't capture him either because, well, why would they? Alright, then the Primarch Summit. After that massacre, Azrael calls an emergency council of the Unforgiven Supreme Grand Masters, so everybody needs to get together and talk. Entire chapters are lost in the warp, and some get embroiled in battle on their way. So I don't know which chapters get lost, but you know, it's the warp. They can pop out somewhere else. Azrael's trying to begin this summit. He wants to, you know, start this thing going, and Robo-G and his fleet shows up with Call. And so Azrael's afraid that the Dark Angels will be judged as heretics, and almost takes up arms against Robo-G. You know, almost starts that firing, but then decides not to. You know, decides, no, let's try this, let's wait this out. Guilliman is there to deliver reinforcements, and basically just drops off a bunch of Primaris Dark Angels. It's like,
well, we need to fill out Fourth Company, so
yeah,
might as well.
Yeah, Fourth Company had some issues. Yeah. And Robo-G talks with the updated Codex Astartes, because he has updated it with the, you know, Primaris and how they fit. But he allows the Dark Angels to continue maintaining their specialized formations, such as the Deathwing and Ravenwing.
Yeah, well, I think he'd have... I mean, even if he did say, hey, you can't do this anymore, I think they would bite their thumb at him.
Yeah, pretty much. And they do talk about that more later, on how they deal with the Primaris Marines. Actually, there was someone on the Independent Characters Forum yesterday that was talking about whether they would take Primaris Marines or not. And I had just finished reading that in the codex, and I kept thinking, I can't say anything because I'm on embargo. And I was just like, I want to say something, but I couldn't. Alright. Dark Imperium, of course, the Dark Angels continue their hunt for the Fallen, Cypher, and the Demon Prince Marbus, which I haven't seen that name before. Then we get to Warzone Stygius. The Changeling, hey, the Changeling's back, because...
Oh, great.
Yeah, you know that's going to be fun.
But the Changeling has been trying to get at the Dark Angel secrets for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
Actively.
Yeah, actively, and well, he's back. So Warzone Stygius, Changeling's there, he's instigating uprisings throughout the Imperium Nihilus. This is funny. The Dark Angels fight alongside the Mordian Iron Guard and the Space Wolves. Yeah. The Space Wolves, yeah. Versus Renegades and, of course, Thousand Suns, because, you know, you can't go too far away from the Space Wolves without the Thousand Suns showing up. While tensions between the Wolves and the Dark Angels remain high, there's little to no conflict except for their ritual combat between champions. So I guess, you know, bar brawls for everyone. So the war zone is such that the Dark Angels realize that victory cannot be achieved, and only the unexpected appearance of an Aldari strike force from Ulthway allows the Space Marines to safely withdraw, leaving the Stygius system to the clutches of Tzeentch. So, if you have an Ulthway, you know, force, you know, you can actually use that in a narrative game pretty easily to kind of run with these ideas of the Warzone Stygius.
Well, and I think you know, they're everywhere. Ulthway is a great one for a narrative because your craft world has its little mitts in everybody's business.
That is very true. All right, so we got a few more things, and we'll get on to other stuff. Inner Tribulations, the Dark Angels are afraid that the new Primaris Marines will not incorporate well into the chapter. Over time, many of the Primaris gain veteran status, but none have been initiated into the Deathwing yet, which is kind of their concern. It's like they have this
that makes sense.
Yeah, well, they've got this whole way they program how they prepare their Marines to learn some of those secrets, and the Primaris didn't go through those secrets, so that's kind of that's something that kind of concerns them. And
yeah, like I can see the issues there and how tough it is going to be to write that narrative. Yeah. I'm currently playing with, for the Star Eagles, I'm currently playing with a storyline. Maybe I can get it to play out on the tabletop, I'm not sure, where the librarian that's stuck on this side of the rift is trying to indoctrinate some of the Second Company into full knowledge of the chapter's beliefs and abilities, but also, you know, the First Company has taken quite a few casualties since Guilliman's crusade started up, and I'm trying to finagle ways of getting that First Company to be what remains of the First Company to be saved by the librarian through implantation in Primaris Marines. Okay. So there's I need to sort out that story and see how it plays out. I'm going to try to pound out some kind of storyline there because I think that'll be really cool. But it also, you know, it has to gel with their combat doctrine too. So I'm kind of thinking maybe using Raven Guard chapter tactics for the first company instead of using the Legion of the Damned rules. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that works out.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I've been running Raven Guard tactics for both my Raven Guard and also the Blood Ravens. I haven't really had a chance to play a whole lot of games, but I just kind of wanted to focus on that one and maybe bounce over to a couple of others as I get more games under my belt for this edition.
Cool.
So, so the last of the history, the last of the timeline, the Darkest Angels. Alright, so rumors of a gathering of the fallen are heard, and only Azrael suspects who is leading them. So, the suspicion is that there's a large gathering of the fallen that are ready to, strike, and only Azrael suspects who's leading them because only Azrael knows who was in that chamber down at the bottom of the rock. So,
Nice.
If you're interested in doing a Dark Angels force, and you want to do Primaris, there are 2 new successor chapters. There are the Angels of Defiance and the Blades of Vengeance. Angels of Defiance are bone and black, but they are a quartered scheme. Think about that. Bone and black. Quartered. Yeah, I looked at that and went, wow, that's really striking, and I don't hate myself that much. The Blades of Vengeance are green armor and bone shoulder pads. These are both Primaris successor chapters, which is interesting. I don't know. I'm hoping there's some more lore on them to see, do they consider themselves Unforgiven or not? So,
Right.
What else?
Well, I think a lot of folks are a little wary of Dark Angel successor chapters, and people have to understand that the Dark Angels have a healthy gene seed, and there are going to be lots of successors when, maybe not so much as the Ultramarines, but it's a resource that must be exploited.
Yeah, and Call seems to be, chugging through them as quick as possible.
Well, let's be honest, Call gives no Fs.
No, he doesn't.
He's like, I have all this World Eaters gene seed. Can I just use this and
Robo G's like, no.
He's like, no. And it's like, but come on, it's fine. It's fine. This is fine.
Well, that's why my Primaris Marines will have a lot of Thousand Suns icons. I mean, they'll be Blood Ravens, but they'll have some other stuff. Interesting swords they have there. Yeah, okay. Alright, so new rules and units in the Dark Angels Codex. Units. Okay, so the Primaris Marines are included in this book. Units such as Redemptor Dread, Repulsor, characters in Gravis Armor, etc. They're all here. It's kind of interesting. The Dark Angels book did not have all the same stuff as the Space Marines book. So, the Ironclad Dread is still not available to the Dark Angels. Neither is the Storm Talon and a few other models. But all the Primaris stuff is available. And instead of captains, they have the rank of Master substituted. But it's the
same thing.
Yeah. So, the rules for the Dark Angels, this would be the same as, Chapter Tactics. They have Defender of Humanity and Grim Resolve. Do you want to read those, or do you want me to read those?
Well, Defender of Humanity is objective secured, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's objective secured. What is it? Although, what is it? If they can control the objective marker even if more enemies are within range of the marker.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
It's the same thing. And then Grim Resolve is plasma. You shoot plasma.
Reroll pretty much. Reroll all hits of 1 whenever it shoots, as long as they didn't move. And I wrote down castling dev squads anyone and supercharged plasma.
Plasma cannons.
Yeah.
3 damage plasma cannons that reroll 1s.
Pew pew. Oh yeah, and in addition, this unit can never lose more than 1 model as a result of any single failed morale test.
Yep.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's but Marines don't really lose morale very often because
no, but there are some armies out there that are. Yeah. I mean, it's clearly in there as kind of a secondary ability. It's the reroll ones that's really good.
It is, yeah.
And there are quite a few armies out there that stack. Well, there are a few armies that stack leadership debuffs.
Yeah.
So going against Night Lords won't stack that penalty as much against the Dark Angels.
Got it.
Which I think is a pretty thematic pairing, too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is actually thematic for the Horse Heresy. There's a lot of discussion between There's a lot of fighting between the Dark Angels and the Night Lords.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually some really, really cool stories. If you read, what is the new Horse Heresy book? Annandale put it out. I don't.
Apparently that's David Annandale's Heresy Swan Song.
Oh, is
he
it?
Was talking. Yeah, he was talking on another show on the Forge the Narrative podcast, and he was saying that's it for him. That's the last Heresy one for him.
Well, yeah, because they're about
things are drawing to a close. Yeah,
that one was a good one. That I can't do spoilers. Hasn't been out for a year yet. Blah blah blah. It is really quite good. But they've basically the Lion and Conrad Kurz are, they seem to be each other's best friend at beating the crap out of each other. So yeah. All right. So anyway.
What do we got for stratagems in here?
All right, so there are a lot of stratagems because they've created a whole group for the Dark Angels, although I think quite a few are just
repeats.
Reskinned. Yeah, the repeats.
Yeah, well, the first one that caught my eye, I mean, I didn't really look through the book that much, but the first one that caught my eye was the first one they shared on the community website, and it's the first one you have listed in the show notes. The Lion and the Wolf is the best stratagem ever in the history of stratagems. It's one command point. If you've got Space Wolves and Dark Angels in your army, before the game begins, you have one of the infantry units fight another infantry unit, and it's just one model. Yeah. You roll a die for each one, and on a 4+, that model suffers a mortal wound. But then each model that survives then gets +1 strength, attacks, weapon skill, and leadership.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. You can only do it once. You can't have you can't do it with your whole army. But how great is that? That is the best.
Well, I do have that Space Wolf character from the Prospero box that I need to build. So I think I could actually put them in as a patrol detachment. That could be a lot of fun.
Can you imagine, I'm sitting here for next Christmas. Imagine, okay, just stick with me. For Christmas next year, having so next year for Christmas, I do an army of Space Wolves and Dark Angels, but it's the most elite small army ever, where I have Logan Grimnar and Samael flying together like bros, just flying around, but they fight at the start of the game, and they're both super BA, flying around all cool with Thunderwolves and Ravenwing.
That sounds horrifying. But
doesn't it sound like the worst army ever, but still the most awesome thing in the world?
It's something that Brandon would build.
It is. Well, I feel like I would just lose every game, but I would only have to paint 10 models. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I haven't pointed it out yet, but I'm pretty sure it's a model. after Logan and Samael, it would be one model left.
Yeah, they are. I don't know what the numbers are for Grimnar. So
yeah, me
that
neither.
Does sound terrifying.
Yeah, and is Space Santa, right?
Yeah, oh god.
And space flying bike with a book on it guy. Samael's model is a an Imperial cruiser flying around. It's got the same front as all the all the ships from Battlefleet Gothic. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You could kit bash a Samael out of Battlefleet Gothic spaceship. No problem. You just need a book.
Well, Cromlech does books, I think. So
yeah, it's true. It's true.
All
right. Well, we got way off topic here, but that's kind of an idea that I had, and I would totally do it.
All right. Next stratagem: hunt the fallen, because that's what the Dark Angels do. 1 command point. Select an infantry unit in your opponent's army. That model is suspected to know the whereabouts of a fallen. Increase the model's attack characteristic by 1, but reroll failed hit rolls for Dark Angels that target it in the fight phase. In addition, reroll failed charge rolls for Deathwing and Ravenwing units that declare a charge against that model. For some reason, I think there was a... Like in the old Dark Angels Altar of War EPUB, I think there was something similar to that in there. I'll have to go back and look. And then, in our third one, weapons from the Dark Age, 1 command point. Use the stratagem just before a Dark Angel unit attacks in your shooting phase. Increase the damage characteristic of that unit's plasma weapons by 1 until the end of the phase. So, if you took that and... what was the other? Oh, and you have the Grim Resolve? Or what it is, then you could really do some fun stuff with plasma.
Okay.
You wouldn't even have to supercharge, because it would automatically go to 8, so you wouldn't have to worry about wounds, about mortal wounds. So yeah, there you go. And then let's see, what's next? We ready for the lore?
I am ready for the lore.
All right. So we were going to talk about the Angels of Absolution.
Bwah, 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 bwah. All right, yeah, stick around. We'll be right back.
Come here, boy, get the ball. Aw, come on, Max, get the ball. Mom, Max won't get the ball. He's lazy.
I think I know why your Zote is being lazy, Jenny.
Why, Mom?
Because you forgot to feed him Zotabix today.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, Zotabix contains all the nutrients and random animal parts a growing Zote craves. It not only provides our Zote with the energy it needs to play with you and protect our home, but it also keeps its chitinous shell fresh and shiny.
Oh, boy, I'd better feed Max his Zotabix.
Yes, you had.
Zotabix is made in part from grade
Max,
A
time for
Astra
dinner.
Militarum post-engagement byproduct and is infused with 112 essential vitamins
No,
and
Max,
minerals
down.
harvested from your Zote's natural habitat, the finest desert depths.
Ah!
Zotabix is available in any shopping center on worlds where Zotes are allowed or where the Imperium's inexorable influence has not yet reached.
Hello, everyone. The Masters of the Forge is now a proud member of the NPC, the Narrative Podcast Consortium. Our aim is to inspire your hobby through the rich lore of the 41st millennium. If you enjoy our podcast, then make sure to check out these other awesome shows, where you can get coverage on campaigns, Black Library, and all kinds of general topics of the 40k background.
The NGC 40K podcast also provides in-depth campaign coverage, audio dramas, and free-flowing narrative campaign creation.
The Adeptus Terra podcast also features in-depth discussions of the lore and commentary on the hobby.
Oh, and sexy English voices.
Oh, yeah.
The Masters of the Forge brings the world of 40k to life on your tabletop, with discussion on the lore, backed up by narrative-themed rules and battle reports.
Of course, this is only a fraction of the topics covered by the podcasts of the NPC. Please tune in to find out more.
We're back! So, I was on the Dark Angels Facebook page this week, and boy, oh boy, there's a lot of butthurt on that freaking page.
Really?
My goodness. My goodness. It is bad. I think it's because of the way we treat them. I think it's like a reaction to all the bullying those poor people get. And I get it. I'm sorry. I I apologize. I had no idea that it was so bad. So I'm gonna try to make it up. I'm trying to make it up to them by being nicer.
Okay.
Anyways, let's talk about these. Let's talk about these heretics.
Hey. Loyalish.
Yeah. Well, I saw somebody comment on there. Like they posted a meme of nobody cares about your Dark Angel successor.
Aww.
I'm gonna tell you right now, who does? We do.
Yeah.
At Masters of the Forge, we care about your Dark Angel successor, and I think people are. I don't know that people. There are people who have like snowflake syndrome, where not where they want to be a snowflake, but where they're so vehemently opposed to other people having original thoughts that they insist that those thoughts are not original. Where it's a weird thing. Like okay, just because everybody has ideas and everybody has things that they want to try out, and why crap on people for wanting to try out new things?
Yep.
No, there's nothing new under the sun, but don't yuck someone else's yum. Come on, people. So let's start with the Angels of Absolution. They are a loyalist Dark Angel successor, and they are the kind of poster boys of the whole idea of, I want my chapter to be this, but kind of the opposite. And that's kind of what they do here with the Dark Angels. They are Dark Angel successors who believe that they are absolved of the sins of the Dark Angels.
Yeah.
They're from the second founding. They feel as if I haven't found any details of this, but they feel like they're the people, the Space Marines that they were made from, absolved themselves of their sins at the moment of the fall of Caliban.
Really?
Something that their progenitors did at the fall of Caliban. Absolve them of their sins. Now, they still want to bring traitors to justice, and they still want to destroy the fallen and find them, but they're not going to lose sleep over it if that doesn't happen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting, because they have a really interesting color scheme. They're the bone color scheme, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Because I thought about actually painting that, because I like painting that color for whatever reason. But anyways, their combat doctrine and general temperament are similar to their successor. They simply do not share the guilt of the fall, nor do they believe they are damned if they never hunt down and exterminate all the fallen. They will assist in the capture with great prejudice, as they would any traitor, but they won't lose as much sleep over as their brothers. This is really interesting. The Angels of Absolution proved their ability to sniff out a rat in M36. And they were early to the party in the Age of Apostasy and fought against Cardinal Bucharest at Gothamor, which I haven't read much about the Age of Apostasy. Age of Apostasy. I'm kind of hoping that the Black Library will start looking at those other time periods. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're starting to do, but I'm kind of curious about it just because I like... Okay, fine, I like the name. Alright, fine. The Age of Apostasy sounds really awesome, So, anyway.
I think it's a natural fit for the kind of the next thing to explore, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because there's all sorts of lore, and they haven't... I mean, let's be honest. Guy Haley writes so quickly, they just need to let him loose on somewhere and let him go. And let him do his thing, and, because right now, what is it? Dimsky Bowden has essentially the Black Legion, and that's going to be pretty cool to see what he does with that.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah. I hear that it's really good, and I really should read it. So addendum. Bjorn the Fell-Handed and Samael are 430 points.
Whoa! Together?
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
So after that, I have 1,570 points to work with. No problem.
That's not too bad. Well, you need to take you'll need to take like a tax squad to make it a patrol detachment, right? for the.
Well,
Space
I mean,
Wolves.
I'm sure I can somehow fit two battalions in there somehow. Anyways,
that just gave me a headache.
well, you know what? No. It should just be two outriders so that I don't have to bring anybody on foot at all.
There you go.
That's, yeah. What am I'm trying to not have to paint models. Anyways, the Angels of Absolution fought alongside the Raven Wing, for example, at the Battle of Archangel 7. After many casualties in brutal close quarters fighting, including many of the Angels of Absolution's own first company Terminators, they finally cornered 3 Fallen, killing 1 and capturing the other 2 to be sent back to the Rock for questioning. So they don't just fight traitors either. They were key players in the Corinth Crusade at Caradon, where 6 Space Marine chapters and 50 regiments of the Astra Militarum assaulted Skargor and pushed them back to Corinth, delaying the inevitable invasion of Wog Argluk by decades. So, you know, they're not the we're in the middle of a fight and now we have to go capture a Fallen. Sorry guys, you're screwed. You're on your own. Yeah. They do not do that.
And that's kind of nice because that is I don't know, that's one of the pieces of the Dark Angel lore that kind of bothers me sometimes. Of course, then again, I play Blood Ravens, whose entire lore is, hey, look, there's something shiny. And they're gone, you know. So I guess I can't.
That would explain why you're using the Raven Guard tactics. Like, ooh, shiny.
Yeah, look, I can put that in my nest. I mean, something. I don't know. Whatever. All right. The Angels of Absolution were featured in the Siege of Vrax when they were called to aid the Dark Angels by none other than Supreme Grandmaster Azrael himself.
Ooh.
Their 4th company, backed up by reserves and led by Master Yarif, and also the Dark Angels Interrogator Chaplain Belphegor, were assigned the duty of capturing Arcos the Faithless of the Alpha Legion and destroying the Anarchy's Heart, his despoiler-class battleship. In the end, Yafrir was killed, but they destroyed the ship and captured at least 15 Alpha Legion for the Questioner's Chair. Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Bilfagor in the original Hebrew is Lord of the Gap. So he's the one that guards all the terrible Chinese-made clothing.
Wow.
He is a demon. He is a demon and one of the 7 princes of hell who helps people make discoveries. He seduces people by suggesting to them ingenious inventions that will make them rich.
Interesting.
Yes, Bishop and witch hunter Peter Binsfeld believed that Belphegor tempts by the means of laziness. Also, according to Peter Binsfeld's classification of demons, Belphegor is the chief demon of the deadly sin known as sloth.
Oh, okay.
So it's very, very exciting. I love this. I love this. It's great.
Well, it's always amazing where they pull the names out of sometimes. It's like, oh, that's who we're naming this after. That's pretty cool. Okay.
Well, all the Dark Angels are named after demons because reasons. All right, well, so
loyalish.
So of course they also joined in the fight against the Despoilers' 13th Black Crusade.
Yep.
At first they were arrayed throughout the Eye of Terror and instrumental in identifying several Fallen who had emerged from there. The last stand of Cadia, however, the remaining 3 companies stood against the great enemy in defense of Kaiser Trunch, along with the Black Consuls and many other Space Marines chapters, before it finally fell and the defenders were forced to fall back. I guess I would assume that any survivors took part in the assault on the orbital batteries, which allowed the escape of what remained of Cadia's people. So whoever was there are no longer with us. But that's really true for any of the Space Marines who are a part of that final stand on Cadia. There's really not much left except like a smattering of characters and some Black Templars and stuff.
Yeah.
I would say, you know, it would be cool if you had a captain or something who, or I guess a grandmaster or a master of some kind who maybe that's his thing. He was one of the sole survivors of that horrible tragedy.
Well, they are still in the codex, so they are still considered to be alive.
Oh yeah, they're around, but whoever among those, you know, 4 companies that was mostly decimated.
Yeah. Alright, so as with many Space Marine successors, there's some mention of the Angels of Absolution in the Deathwatch RPG. There's a tale of a battle brother, Ragul, who refused to bear his relic power sword with him upon his return to the chapter, saying that the sword no longer shared the chapter's fate. This event seems to coincide with the chapter's refusal to take on the Unforgiven moniker. Clearly, Ragul learned much from his stint with the Deathwatch, and some of that knowledge was somehow transferred to his chapter, whether through actual disclosure or through a message sent by this single act. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is an interesting bit of lore.
Yeah, it's really cool. I really like the way that they kind of worked that in. Some of these stories from those books, from those campaign books, are awesome. And I'd like to get my hands on some of those just so I can read some of that stuff.
Yeah, there's a couple of what was it? Honor the Chapter, I think, was one of their source books. I'm trying to remember. There's one that actually has the Blood Ravens in it. It's got a lot of cool stuff in there.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, I really liked reading about the Angels of Absolution because I've kind of always wondered what the combat doctrines and kind of arrangement of some of these Dark Angel successors is like or are like, because do they have a Deathwing? Do they share their like how does it work? Do they have their own levels of trust, or do that once after you're done in the 3rd company of the successor, do you get moved to the Dark Angels to be part of the inner circle of the Dark Angels? And it turns out they have their own structures. They have their own 1st and 2nd companies. They don't like send people to the Dark Angels. They have their own, and they do have their own. Well, at least the Angels of Absolution do. They have their own contemporary in their chapters. So their 1st company are, you know, the bunch of Terminators, and their 2nd company are very much like the Raven Wing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could, you know, possibly go through and add some of the other wings, like the Iron Wing and the Storm Wing and whatnot, if you wanted to. You know, make them. Or if you wanted to do your own chapter outside of the Angels of Absolution, you could go through and actually maybe mull it more towards, you know, Iron Wing or Storm Wing or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah. If you're doing Fire Wing, then you need to go just do Consecrators. You'll be okay. Alright, so for the hobby, the Angels of Absolution they're bone white with black spot color, symbolizing their purity in comparison with their brothers in the Dark Angels. Because everybody needs a little bit of shade thrown, I guess. They still use red and green livery and Dark Angel fonts, but the colors are inverted on their markings. Their chapter badge is a single wing with a skull in it. Possible through the merging of 2 transfers, maybe. You know, there's some skull.
Raven Wing plus a skull equals their symbol, basically.
Also, I think. Okay, let me see if I've got this right. The chapter customizer does decals of this, and I think Pop Goes the Monkey does the shoulder pads. So there are transfers out there. I have used the chapter customizer decals, and they are quite nice. Anyways,
Alright.
the veterans of the Angels of Absolution sometimes wear the green cloaks and robes symbolizing the shame of the fall. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
They are still, going with that. But like I was saying, the decals from Chapter Customizer are really nice. I've got the Mantis Warrior ones, and I really, really dig them. They're really nice.
All right, cool. So, there are a lot of other Dark Angel successors. As I was saying earlier, you can feel safe in assuming that the Dark Angels have a bunch of successors, because they do have a very healthy gene seed that they use to bolster the numbers of the Space Marines, and the codex is full of Primaris imagery, specific like Jason was saying earlier, specific Primaris successors. So that's totally fine. So I would get out there and I would go ahead and go nuts, right? Like do your thing.
Yeah.
Make whatever you want, because this is your hobby, right?
Yep.
You do you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't let the haters hate.
Yeah. And, one of the reasons I don't play Dark Angels, the reason I stopped was I didn't like Azrael. I liked Samael. I thought he was awesome. But, I didn't like the way that Azrael was run, and I also had bought an Ironclad Dreadnought, so this is back when I didn't have a whole lot of models. So now I could actually go through and either run a Dark Angels group, or maybe I'm going to do a successor chapter with these guys. Have them all the same livery, but different colors. Oh, but I'm not doing a quartered scheme. That ain't happening. Sorry.
Oh, come on.
No. I got to that place where I don't completely hate myself, just a little bit.
All right, fine. So, before we move on to our cool. Oh, wait, hold on. Citadel Journal 22 has this awesome chapter called The Angels of Wrath. And Citadel Journal number 22, many of the Citadel journals actually are available on, I think it's Scribd.
Yeah, Scribd.
Because it's just so old and stuff that it's practically, it's just available for you to look at. And it's really funny. Their chapter master, Tristan Dare, who is clearly named after somebody named their character after themselves and gave them the last name Dare, which is just fantastic. They openly rejected the insanity of High Lord Gauge Vandier during the Age of Apostasy, and they were brutally persecuted and forced into isolation. And they have their own kind of makeup, their squad makeup and stuff. It's really some really interesting stuff in that issue. I recommend checking it out. Nobody knows where they are now, but that might be a fun hobby project for you later.
Oh yeah.
So, as it turns out, you can do Samael and Bjorn.
Oh, God.
With three squads of 6 Raven Wing with plasma, and 3 squads of 6 Thunderwolf cavalry with frost weapons, in 2,000 points.
And you'll have no friends.
Well, it's 18. 6 times 3 is 18.
Yeah.
Times 2 is 36.
Yeah.
Plus 2 is 38. So 38 models, good to go, full army, awesome.
You can get an AKR backpack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, you couldn't because those Thunderwolves.
Well,
Yeah.
there's only 18 of them, so...
Yeah, okay.
So there's that. So I'm really excited. I need to do this army. I need to stop coming up with armies for me to do.
Yes.
Because that's dumb.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't want to be stabbing you.
Yeah, well, no one needs stabbing. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about the open war campaign system. All right, welcome back. Okay, so we love the open war deck. The only problem is with it, I mean, it's really meant for open play, because it's just like the Maelstrom of War cards. It's an abstracted kind of system, but I think it can be used for narrative play with the right setting, with the right rules. At the same time, even though there is some kind of we do lose some of the random nature using this system. You're still allowing the cards to help you tell the story. So I wouldn't try to force the narrative ahead of time. What I would do is you draw your first cards and try to wrap the narrative around what you drew. It's like, I drew, for example, okay, hold on. So I drew for my objective, kill the courier. That's where you pick a model in your army, and they are the courier, and whoever slays the opponent's courier first wins. So that would be very hard to set up ahead of time without knowing what objective you're going to have. So a lot of these narratives are going to focus on what you drew with your cards. And you're letting the narrative tell itself, really, instead of you coming up with a specific narrative. But sometimes that's easier. Sometimes people aren't comfortable with telling a story. Yeah. So it actually helps you with your narrative. So the system that we came up with, it's going to be available on the website as a PDF. So we're just kind of go through it quickly. It's really intended for 2 people. It's not meant for a complicated 20-person campaign at your hobby shop.
Yeah.
Okay, it's way too involved for that. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have either as much of your miniatures collection as possible with you, or set up your game ahead of time. That way you can bring exactly the miniatures you need. Yeah. You'll need at least 1 deck of open war cards and some way of keeping a journal. Games Workshop came out with a journal that you can use, or we've included some record sheets at the end if you want to print those out and use those instead. Also, you'll want to have just 2 envelopes, like you mail with. Keep those handy, and I'll explain that later. So we're going to keep track of all of the cards we've used, because we're not going to use the same objective twice. Okay. Yeah, that's really important. Also, you're going to want to ahead of time figure out what your parameters are, like how many points, what detachments you want to use. You may want to have specific detachments for specific scenarios. Yeah. Really talk to each other about that. Sometimes, the narrative will, even if you hate all the detachments in 8th edition, you're going to want to have an open mind about it, because some detachments really favor certain scenarios. Like if your opponent is attacking a defensive position of yours, well then why wouldn't they have a spearhead detachment of heavy artillery, right? Yeah. It makes sense for the scenario. But for this, even though the open war deck allows for different power levels and it gives extra cards to people who have less power level or whatever, in this campaign system, I assume that you'll be playing with equal power level, because we bring into play the sudden death cards, and the ruse is as a part of the system instead of based on power level. Okay. Okay. I strongly recommend drawing your cards first and then building your armies. I think that makes more sense for narrative play. It would be silly to have a mission like a line breaker style mission when you've built an army all artillery.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that could be bad.
So I think what I really want to see is folks drawing their cards and then building their army. And even later, we have some rules for building your army in the heat of the moment. And I'll explain that later.
Okay.
So Path to Victory is kind of one of the main changes to the rules, so I'll be more specific about that. Each player has a specific goal. This is their path to victory. You secretly write down the name of an objective you've picked from the open war deck. You fold that paper up and put it in your envelope and seal it. Mm-hmm. So you look through the objectives, you pick it, and then you write it down and you seal it in the envelope. You write your name on the front. Then, if at some point during the campaign you draw that path to victory, or that mission, that objective, if you win that, you win the campaign immediately. It's like a sudden death victory. But you have to reveal it to your opponent ahead of time.
Okay.
So before when you draw it, you unseal your envelope and show your opponent that you have chosen that objective. Like, this is what I was going for. Make sure that mission is sufficiently, kind of epic. Like, okay, I'm going for this scenario. I'm going for it here.
Uh-huh.
If that doesn't happen, if you never draw that mission, you still win the campaign if you win 3 games. All right. Okay. Now, if you've already played 6 games and nobody has won 3, like if you had a bunch of ties or whatever, the campaign is a draw. You should kind of devise some kind of depressing narrative to accompany that disappointing result.
Name it Sad Trombone.
Wah, wah. Yeah. Cool. There's a twist, though, that would be really exciting to turn up. With the many paths to victory twist, you can have 2 objectives. And imagine in that situation if you drew both of the path to victories.
Oh, yeah.
If you drew both players' path to victory, and if you both score it, it's also considered a draw.
That's funny.
So that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So once an objective, also like Fresh Hell is another special rule for this campaign. If any objective or deployment or sudden death card, remove it from the deck for future scenarios. And this is true even for the path to victory. So you can only try for your path to victory once.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've basically allowed the chance for sudden victory to slip through your fingers. Now, the ruse cards, on the other hand, those are always in play.
Okay.
There really aren't enough of them.
Yeah. So,
and they just kind of modify the scenario, so that makes more sense for them. Warlords, you're going to have the same warlord throughout the entire thing. If your opponent kills your warlord on a 4 up, they're allowed to return. On a 2 to 3, they return with some injuries. On a 1, they are out of commission.
Ouch.
For the next game, and you actually have to account for them in your army list. But we'll talk a little bit about the benefits you get from that later.
Yeah.
But before the next game begins, on a 3 up, they return to battle. On a 1 or a 2, they're slain forever. So you have to designate a new warlord.
Oh man, that could be pretty rough, but that could actually be really cool and interesting.
Yeah, just that. I mean, it happens in wars, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal. So there are two states of being that your army could be in that modify the game a little bit. One is desperate. So before the scenario is drawn, determine if one or both players are desperate. A player who is desperate may draw a ruse from the deck before the game begins.
Yeah.
A player is considered desperate if their opponent has more wins in the campaign than they do, their opponent has 2 wins already, or if their warlord is out of commission, or if they are much less experienced at Warhammer than their opponent. In either of these cases, you draw a ruse card.
Yeah.
Both of you are probably going to have ruses both of you are probably going to be desperate by the end of the campaign.
Yeah.
Now, if you qualify for 2 or more of those scenarios, then you are reckless as well. So a reckless player may either select the objective from the scenario the objective for this scenario from the remaining available objectives instead of drawing one. So you get to pick the mission.
Right.
Or you get to select the deployment. Or you draw a single sudden death card before the game begins.
Interesting.
Reckless players are still desperate, so if you're reckless, you still get to draw a ruse as well. So you could be running with a ruse and a sudden death card.
That's pretty interesting. I've looked over the ruse and the sudden death cards, and some of those sudden death cards are pretty wild, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's just yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think the first one I pulled whenever I was looking at them was, if your opponent is not in your deployment zone, you win. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But that doesn't start until turn 3 or so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least there's that. Now, I somewhat recommend maybe giving your opponent a clue of some kind as to what it is. You don't have to tell them, but maybe narratively role play some of your character, some of your models, what they're doing.
Yeah.
So another special we have is momentum. At the start of each game, you refer to your campaign record sheet. You're awarded +1 command point for the scenario you're about to play for each of the following, which are true. If you bloodied your opponent in the last scenario, that is 75% or more of their power level destroyed.
Yeah.
Opponent suffered warlord down for the last scenario. You won the last scenario, or if you denied your opponent their path to victory objective in the last scenario. So you don't just get bonus stuff for being terrible or for losing or whatever. The momentum is to award players for doing well, and just adding +1 command point for each of those things that happened. I think that's it's not overwhelming for your opponent, but at least you get something.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be cool. What do you think? Do you think that's too powerful, or?
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the next thing we're going to talk about, the cusp of victory, and the cusp of victory has what I think is a nice leveling mechanic in it.
Right, yeah. So if you have won 2 games and your opponent has not, then your opponent is immediately reckless at the start of the game. So they immediately get a sudden death card regardless of what the situation is. And not only that, the person with 2 victories has 5 minutes to build their army after the scenario has been determined.
Yeah, that could actually... I mean, unless you really have... I mean, you're running power level, and it's a lot easier to build armies with power level, but I mean, still 5 minutes in a large game could be, real detriment.
I think it's fun too, isn't it? Don't you think it's fun? Like just the idea of like racing through. It's not meant to be frustrating. It's meant to be a fun thing. If that sort of thing is going to frustrate you, then I don't recommend using this system at all.
Well, what's funny is like in the last edition, in 7th and 6th edition, I could just go through and say, all right, I need 140 points. It's this. I need 200 points. This. I had all these numbers down. Where it's like, okay, I need 500 points. Okay, I'll just take this group. And I don't know that the system, or 8th edition as well, but it would be easy with power level to pull that off. It's like, all right, I know this is 3, and that's 3, and that's 6, and that's I know that. So, that could be really interesting. So
yeah, just like if you know that you're gonna be at the cusp of victory, pull out your book, get your paper ready, and right after the cards are drawn, start writing.
Yeah.
I think that'll just be fun, like having that death clock on your army building.
Yeah.
That's fun. So I also put in some faction rules that I want people to look at because it was very much smashed onto the page, and it could be powerful, it could be weak, I don't know. A lot of things are like, instead of drawing a ruse, do this, and it's just a more flavorful thing. For example, let's see, what's one of the good ones?
They're all good.
Eldari, whenever you draw a sudden death card, draw 2 instead. One of them is revealed, the other is kept secret. So it's kind of this this is my plan, this is what I'm doing. Oh, actually I'm doing this. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Right? Gene Stealer Cult and Traitor Astartes, whenever you draw a ruse, you may draw 2 and keep 1 because you're used to pulling the wool over the eyes of your enemy.
Yeah.
Orcs, if none of the following twists are in play, draw an additional twist and use it. Battle Frenzy, Eager for the Fight, or Grudge Match. So if you don't have those fighty types of twists, you have a chance of getting one anyways.
Yeah.
Let's see. Adeptus Astartes, when you would normally draw a ruse, you may just choose the Inspiring Speech ruse instead.
Okay.
Now, normally, for other armies, I think Inspiring Speech, I think it just makes your whole army fearless. For other armies, that would be pretty powerful. For the Astartes, though, you're re-rolling anyways, so it's really not that powerful. It's just more... They're just more fearless than they normally are, so it's not that big a deal. And remember, it's not all the time. It's only when you would normally draw a ruse, and you would normally draw a ruse if you're getting your butt beat.
Yeah.
So it's not that big a deal because you're probably behind if you're drawing these ruse cards anyways.
Yeah, that's very true.
So that's it. I mean, it's a very simple system. I'm definitely going to try to get somebody to do it with me. Maybe Pat. I'm not sure who.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to give this a try. It could be quick, just like a regular game. It kind of reflects the open war deck itself with the instant win, like sudden death games. In addition, not only do you have like sudden death cards, but now you have games that could be sudden death for the campaign.
Yeah. Which
might be interesting. Remember, this is not just in a competitive spirit, but also in a narrative spirit. So if it sounds like a sudden death victory for the campaign would not be fun for you, you might, and it might not, you are not the audience for this campaign system,
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe I need to include some kind of system where the opponent gets a chance to respond to that in some way with like one more game if it is drawn in the first couple games of the campaign. Like if the first objective you draw is your sudden death victory, maybe your opponent deserves a chance to respond in the second game or something.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Maybe. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to trying it out. All right, so I guess that's all I have to say about that. Folks, try it out. Let me know what you think. And we're going to take a quick break and come back and close out the show.
Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Well, don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 Hour a Night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke en bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer en bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said.
I just want to invite you to Frayed Paintbrush Hobby Progress Facebook group. It is a positive group set up to motivate us to hobby and then share it with all the other members. At the beginning of the month, post up your monthly challenge on the page, and then at the end of the month, you post the completed work for all to see. No pressure, just fun among friends. Once again, that's Frayed, F-R-A-Y-E-D, Paintbrush. Hope to see you there.
All right, welcome back. Time to close out the show. Thanks for joining us once again for Masters of the Forge. Again, we're going to be taking a long break for the holiday.
Yep.
But we'll be back bright-eyed and bushy-tailed after the Golden Sprue Cup. Probably the week after, probably the last week of January, we'll be back to talk about the coming year and talk about, we'll have some kind of hobby topic, I'm sure, to discuss. Probably having to do with demons or whatever codex is coming out in January. But until then,
play the game the way you want to.
This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial, International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com. The music used in this podcast was made by Parad of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.